Good morning, everyone. It's Tom Kline. I'm from Better Vantage Point, which is my company, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about governance, risk, and compliance. I'm a governance, risk, and compliance consultant, and I'm a former dealer for 30 years. And it's important to talk about these things because governance is a series of policies which is how you run your business. And it's important from a cultural perspective, it's important for all of the employees to know how you want to run the business. One example I use a lot is, does every employee at your store know what to do if a media company, excuse me, if a local news, the 10 on your side or whatever it is, comes in and starts filming and says, "Hey, do you have a statement on why Mrs. Jones's car has been sitting on your lot for 2 years?" Does every employee know that they're not allowed to comment, or that they are allowed to comment, whatever it is that you want to do? So governance is a series of rules and regulations and policies that you want your employees to follow. And it's important from a safeguarding perspective because you want all your employees to know how you are running your business and what specifics you want them to do in order to handle, for example, customer problems. So you might have heard me say before that at dealerships, problems usually start on two legs. And what I mean by that is they're usually either customer problems or they're employee problems. And then the third, coming in close to third, is unintentional advertising violations. So what is it that your employees know what to do on these things? If you don't have any policies, please consider installing them, because this is the important part about your business. Your people are your business, and you want them to use good judgment in how they deal with the public, because their use of good judgment is part of how you are building trust with the public. And their behavior both at the dealership and outside the dealership is part of that. So consider how you are asking your employees to behave, what policies they're supposed to follow. And this is one of the building blocks of what's called governance, risk, and compliance, of which you can see at the bottom of the screen, GRC Consulting. So you may ask, and a couple people have asked, why the name of this is called Tuck the Octopus. And the reason for that is that running a business is like trying to tuck an octopus into bed and keeping the tentacles from flopping all over the place. And that's part of what governance does, right? Governance helps you imprint your thoughts and feelings and your policies onto your employees so that they know how to react given any given situation. And the more policies that you can have them understand, the more policies that are clear and concise, so they know how to act, so they know how to react, so they know what responsibilities to take and how to do that, the better. So it can be a little overwhelming. I agree with that. But at the same time, I think it's important from a outside perspective, because how your employees behave with the public is going to determine your reputation, and it is your business, it's your dealership, and that's why I advocate this kind of thing. So and remember that there are a lot of different eyeballs that look at your business on a daily basis. It could be lawyers, it could be regulators, and by regulators, are anyone who can interfere with your business or tell you how to run your business. So, for example, it could be the state police. The state police in Virginia, as an example, regulate the the state inspection stickers. It could be the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which you've heard me talk about. It could be the Federal Trade Commission. It could be a politician. Just to tell you the story about a politician and how the public trust is important, I know of a dealer many years ago that was advertising in an incorrect way, and a customer got upset. A customer actually went to his state politician. The state politician called the Motor Vehicle Dealer Board. The Motor Vehicle Dealer Board brought the dealer up on charges, and as a result of the advertising discrepancy or the bait and switch allegations, the dealership almost lost its franchise. They almost lost their franchise because after a hearing, it was determined that they were going to have a suspension for 7 days. And if you've ever read a franchise dealer agreement, if you're closed generally for more than 2 days, then the franchisor has or the OEM has the opportunity to pull the franchise. So as a result of this one mistake, this one advertising problem, this dealership almost lost its franchise and what's called the blue sky. Blue sky is the value of the enterprise. And typical franchise dealers at this point, their blue sky, which is or the value of their operation, including blue sky, land, building, parts inventory, used car inventory, all of that exceeds $20 million. It's that's the regular routine thing. So in terms of the list of other regulators, the attorneys general. The attorneys general recently, as an example, imposed a fine of $1.25 million on Dan O'Brien Kia up in New Hampshire for deceptive practices. The IRS is another regulatory body that governs dealerships because of the cash reporting. And I see, when I go into dealerships, I see the cash reporting not being handled very well. And here's how. So if you're not receipting everything in according to exactly what it is, so example, are you receipting in cashier's checks as cashier's checks? Are you receipting in traveler's checks as traveler's checks? Are you receipting in personal checks as personal checks? Because traveler's checks and cashier's checks are also considered cash. So as an example, on the IRS 8300, if you aren't counting those included in your cash, you could get a $5,000 cashier's check and $5,000 in cash, and then all of a sudden you have to do the report. And if your billing department isn't checking that, first of all, if it's not being receipted properly, then you can't run a report through your DMS to see which deals exceed $10,000 in cash. Your billing department also can't check the receipts because they don't, if they're checking the receipt and everything is being receipted in under a personal check instead of breaking it down by cashier's check, by cash, actual physical cash. If that's not being done, then the billing department doesn't know what it's looking at when it's trying to reconcile the cash. And that should be the second place where these things are audited. So, and having policies and procedures without auditing them is like not having policies and procedures. So that's part of the function of a good GRC program at a dealership, is making sure that somebody is checking behind all those policies. I think it's important to check behind what's going on, because without checking, you really don't know if anybody is adhering to what you've told your employees you want them to do. And we'll discuss more of these things in the days and weeks to come. But I wanted to give you that little bit about governance this morning. Please call me or reach out if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them without the meter running. My phone number is 757-434-7656. Of course, you can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or on my website, bettervantagepoint.com. So for now, I am Tom Kline, and thanks for seeing things from a better vantage point. Have a great day.